Hello.
Hello.
Look at my bag.
Oh, look at that.
I told Michelle, this is the bag that I'm taking from my office to my bedroom and my bedroom to my office because I carry books and my iPad and my Kindle around. Look. Ooh, this book's in
Whoop, whoop. Look at that. Perfect. So I was totally just having a conversation with you all, and it's like I was like, why are people talking over me? And then I realized I was on mute. I'm having kind of one of those days. I went to the dermatologist today, and I have to say something that was more painful than my little wimpy tattoo here was getting precancerous cells frozen off the top of my ears.
Oh.
Not fun.
Mm.
And she's so funny because she's like, it'll hurt for like 5 seconds. And I'm like, why didn't we do this at the end so I could concentrate? Because it's like salsa that's really hot where you get it. And then all of a sudden it starts to burn more and more. And I'm like, seriously, like that is a painful little spot right up there. But then
Oh,
Vaseline on it and I went away. So thank you for letting me share my story. That's my humor story for today. Okay. So Carrie, how's your face? Talking about burning.
It's been really sore and I am feeling better though. I think I was like a hurt puppy. Like you hurt my face and then I was like sad for 3 days. So I'm doing better today.
Good.
And my win, before you even ask us for one, is that I went to my very first Pilates class today on the reformer and everything. And I didn't die and I made new friends, including 84-year-old Dot, and who was doing the Pilates class, and it was fun. So, and I'm gonna go back.
was it Club Pilates?
It was.
Nice. They're opening those, a bunch of them around me, and I keep thinking about trying it.
Well, they did like an opening special. So for the first 3 months, it's like unlimited, but it's less money. So I'm like, I have to go get my money's worth. So, because it's expensive, but I
Well,
want
it's
to try.
funny you say that because I just saw a reel where this like soccer team, this male soccer team was doing Pilates and how it was like kicking their ass.
Good. Good.
Exactly. Okay, awesome. Everybody go around. I know we just talked Tuesday, but I'd like to hear a win. I'll tell you, my win was so funny. I took my grandson after the 30 minutes of soccer practice to the Mexican restaurant and got a quesadilla. And I kept saying to him, do you want a taco or a quesadilla? And he's like, why do you keep asking me? And I said, because you won't tell me which one you want. Like, he was so funny. And then there was a little picture of the rock with tequila on the rock, like a margarita on the rocks. And I said, yeah, that's the rock. And he's like, that's the rock. That's the rock. Like little kids just crack me up. It was so funny. That was my win. I got to go on a date with my grandson.
Yay.
Aw.
My
Kathy,
grand,
oh, go ahead.
I say my grandbaby is 3 today. It's her birthday.
Oh, so
Aw.
fun. So fun. Kathy, I'm going to pass it to you.
I'm having a really bad day. I don't think I can come up with a win.
Okay. So we
Um,
hold space for you.
yeah, just remember when I said I was gonna lose people if the book comes out? My sisters. So
Mm.
just as I suspected. Got disinvited on the trip.
Because of the book?
No, they're saying it's because of a feud I've been having with my sister-in-law, but um I'm like it's she it's a long story, but she's said lies about me and has caused problems. And I'm upset that they're acting like it's our problem and not her problem when it's in front of them. But behind her back, they are different. So,
And does that have anything to do with the book, or that's because of this relationship?
I think it's all related. I think it's our deepest fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew it, you know. And that's, I think, why subconsciously I kept, you know, dragging it. But
I hate that for you. And I would just invite you to keep looking at, is it really tied to the book?
doesn't matter, you know.
Well, it doesn't, it does matter in the fact that if you tie it to the book, then that, like, I don't want that to stop your brilliance coming out if in fact it's not tied to the book.
That's just one venue.
Yeah.
You know, everything was stopped coming out,
Mhm.
you know. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my work. It's just
Yeah.
bad timing today.
It's just raw. I like your purple
Mhm.
comfort pillow. And your
Me too.
condo.
Yeah, got it rented. That's why I'm like, as soon as things starts flowing, then you know, this is just as soon as things start flowing, um, I have to cut ties from the old way.
Yeah.
It's a longer story, and I really don't want to spend our call doing on it. And I've got, you know,
Yeah.
I've got support lined up for me. It's just this call's bad timing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Honor that. Thank you, Kathy. Pamela, what about you? Or why do I keep calling you Pamela? It's because it's on your little
Because
square.
it's on the screen. So my son came home yesterday from college, and came over for dinner and then stayed until like midnight, and we hung out and we watched Tom Brady's roast. I don't know if you guys have watched that, but it's
No, it's a good.
so hilarious. We only got partway through it because it's like a 3-hour special on Netflix, but it is so funny. But it was just so nice to like just have that time with him, and it was unplanned, unexpected. Like we knew he
Yeah.
was coming home one night this week and would be around this week, but I didn't realize he was going to come home and have dinner and then just stay and hang out. Like it just felt good that he wanted to hang out.
Isn't that awesome when our kid, like, you then know that they want to hang out with you? I love that.
Yeah, yeah, because he could have watched that anywhere. He could have gone back to his girlfriend's house. He could have gone to his friend's house and whatever, but he wanted to watch it with us, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah. And Dr. Lachelle Weemy, what about you? Thanks for sharing that.
Oh gosh, I am just I am happy with the amount of productivity that I've had this week, and I'm happy with the amount of non-productivity that I've had this week. So basically meaning that I got my panties up in a little wad because I was overwhelmed with all of my balls that I have. But I had a really great coaching conversation with Miss Debbie Heiser, who helped me to just like chill the hell out.
I'm glad it worked.
So yeah, so last night we dropped our daughter and our neighbor off at church, and my husband and I went on a little date, had a couple of nice IPA beers, and snuggled with my daughter, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but we watched The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh, is that good?
Okay, so she chose it because apparently TikTok said it was good. It is heavy, heavy, heavy. It's all about the Holocaust. And a
Yeah.
little
Oh.
soldier's 8-year-old son who befriends a Jewish boy in a camp. And it's heavy. And I'm like, girlfriend, like, how did you like this movie? She's 11.
My daughter read the book and told me about it. I was like, I'm not reading that book.
Yeah, no, the end is like, huh? And so then we go to bed, and I'm like, of course I wake up thinking about it this morning because it was a lot. So anyway,
Yeah.
so there's that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And Kathy, just know that I'm holding space and love for you, and we're going to do a meditation. that we'll kind of unpack after we do the meditation. And Kathy, I would love for you to stay on, but if you also like, I'm going to trust you to know what you need in this moment. So I'm just going to say that. And if you're not okay, I need for you to reach out and say you're not okay. And I'm going to trust that as well. So what we're going to do today is we are going to do a meditation. So if you can, turn your phones on Do Not Disturb. If you have any applications, one day I was doing a podcast recording and I kept hearing this noise and I'm like, what the heck is that noise? And I realized I had Facebook open and it was like the messenger was dinging and I'm like, oh, good Lord, have mercy. And so try to like turn off any potential distractions that you might have. And I'm going to ask you to get comfortable if that means you want to move over to your couch or to wherever. Like, just make it where you feel really receptive in this moment. And it's interesting because the card I pulled this morning is called Reflection Pool Stillness. So we're going to practice some stillness and kind of go into this. So once you are ready, if you would kind of ground yourself, I want you to close your eyes.
I'm just texting my family to tell them I'm going to be doing a meditation. Don't open the door, because that was like nothing pulls you out of it faster than the door opening.
That is a true statement. That is
And
a
if they
true
don't hear me talking because I have earbuds in, they can't hear you, then they assume that it's safe to open the door. They don't think I'm on a meeting.
Oh, yeah, good call. So once you're ready, I want you to ground yourself, close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just notice your breath. I'm not going to guide you in your breathing, but just notice the inhale and the exhale. And notice and maybe even count as you take a deep breath in, what's the count that you can get to? And try to breathe in even further than what you think you can. And then breathe out, counting at that same pace. And just notice if they're equal or if they're different. And as you continue to breathe, I want you to see 3 doors. And notice the 3 doors. And I want you to approach the first door. And I want you to open that door and go inside. And just notice what's inside that door. Take a few moments to use all of your senses. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? What do you feel inside this door? So I'm going to allow you a minute to do your observation. And now it's time to leave that room. And so you go back out the door. And you're facing the 3 doors again. And I want you to notice the second door. And I want you to enter that second door as you go into that second door, I want you to backtrack for a moment and think of a word that came to you in your first door. And just note that word. And midway now, opening the second door, open it wide open and see what's in front of you. Smell what's in front of you. Does it have a taste? How does it feel? What do you hear? And look around. Notice this door, or notice this room, and what's in this room or in this space. And if a word starts to resonate for you, notice that word. And I'm going to give you a minute to use all of your senses to feel, see, hear, touch this room, smell. And now you are getting ready to leave this room and go back to the 3 doors. And I want you to enter the 3rd door. Noticing the door, and as you open it, what does this open to? Again, I'm going to give you a moment to see, smell, taste, touch, or feel, and to hear what's happening in this room. And take a moment to just be in this room. And if a word starts popping up for you or starts to come to your awareness, make note of that word. What does it feel like in this room? What does it look like? And what word is coming to you? And now we're going to come out of that 3rd room, and I just want you to focus on one thing. And as you're focusing on that one thing, start to come back to the present place. Notice your fingers, your toes, your body. Notice your breathing. And I want you to take a big inhale in and pause and exhale. And then come back to the room as you feel called. And we'll move from there. Okay. So what I'd like to do is have each of you, and Kathy, you're welcome to come on or not, come on and describe your 3 rooms as they came to you. And it may not have been linear. Some of you, you may have had 3 doors in front of you, and your first door might have been on the right, or it might have been in the middle, or it might have been on the left. So who wants to go first?
I can.
Okay, thanks, Pam.
So, I'm an accountant, so everything's linear for me. Started on the left. And my first room was
Did you
So-
notice the door? Like, was there anything about the door that you noticed, or you just went into the room?
It was brown.
Okay.
And the walls were white. Which makes sense because the first door was me going into the hotel room at the resort that we stay at in Mexico all the time.
Okay.
So, it was breezy, you could smell the sea air, it was clean, it was bright, it was comfortable and relaxing, and it was like coming home.
Perfect. Thank you. And did you have a word come to you?
Relaxed.
Okay.
Because that's typically where I disconnect from everything.
Okay. And what about your second one?
So all three doors looked exactly the same, because once I pictured the first one, that was all she wrote. And it was walking into my new house as I am envisioning it and working on designing it.
And
So it was
so,
It was clean, it smelled new, there was a feeling of like energy and excitement because it was new and, we're still getting all the details together, but it's, fun and exciting to be making those plans.
okay. And did you have a word come up for that one?
Exciting.
And what about the third one?
The third one was my son's new apartment that we just moved him into last weekend. And it felt very homey. They've got like lots of plants. They've got their furniture in there now. And the word was just happy.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And then once we get everybody's, I'll kind of share what, like the energy that I was pushing forward into this, what they stood for. So perfect. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'm a little different than Pam.
That's okay. You're all going to be different. It's different rooms.
All of my doors were different colors, and I didn't step into rooms. I stepped into places. So my first door on the left was purple, like the color of Kathy's pillow, and it for some reason I wanted to step around it instead of through it. I thought that was interesting. But when I walked in there, it was like a big daisy field and with a nice breeze, and my hair was blowing, and sun was shining so much I had to squint. And I was like, what was I wearing? Somehow I had automatically this little white dress on. And so, and I think the word that came there was just joy. Like, I don't think I spun around in the flower field, but kind of that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
The second door was brown. It was like a brown, like mission style with like the 3 squares on it, the black handle. And there's a dog WWE match going on right next to me. I'm sorry. Like we're asleep the whole time until it's my turn to talk, but it's okay. And I will say, if I've done a meditation with Joni and she says exhale, my dogs also exhale, so they feel it all. But the door's brown, and I walk through, and all of a sudden I'm like in a trench coat with like a hat on, and it's the streets of London, and it's dark and it's raining and the cars are honking, but they're like old cars from the 50s, and I'm standing there in the rain. And when you asked about words, it was like stand in the rain was the phrase that came to me, but so it's either stand or it's either rain. I don't know which one.
Could be stand in the rain. It doesn't have to be one. Yep. Awesome.
Yep. And then it took me a long time to picture a third door. Like it didn't come right away. And my third door was yellow and it was crooked. So I had to like hunch down to walk inside. And inside my yellow door was a disco dance party. And they were like, Carrie! But there was a disco ball there and everybody was dancing. And like your typical techno trap music, and we were having a great time. But I thought it was interesting that nobody was drunk. It was a sober dance party, and everybody was having a blast. So,
Yeah.
and I think my word for that one was just fun.
Awesome. Thank you. I was just somewhere and I can't remember where, and they had all these pink disco balls, and I thought of you. Kathy or Lachelle, either one? And Kathy, I'm okay if you say I'm not willing to do it. So
I
you just,
did it. I did
okay.
it. Um, it's a well exercised muscle for me, meditations.
Yeah.
Um, I it was a red door, and it opened to a garden, just nature.
Mhm.
And my word was peace.
Okay.
The second one, it was an antique wooden ornate door, and I walked in, and it was um like if you had to take a sip of coffee that someone had put their cigarette in. It was very bitter is the word that came, smoky, cramped, like like visiting at a hoarder's house kind of thing. And then the third one, it wasn't a door, it was like a drape, like a leather drape, like walking into a teepee.
Okay.
But as soon as you walk in, it was like a metal cubicle, and I couldn't see anyone. Not that anyone was in any other ones. This one, the word was isolated, and trapped also came up, but isolated. And
Okay.
it was just, all I could see was it was like the thin metal, like of a filing cabinet on all the directions. So
Okay. And what was your word for the second one?
bitter.
Thank you. Thank you. Lachelle.
All right. So I found that was interesting, Debbie, when you mentioned about the order of things, because I was trying to put them all in a row, but I couldn't. Like it's like the one, and then the two were on the side were set back, and I was like drawn to the first in the middle. Weird. So that one was a waiting room. And it was like I was trying to figure out what that symbolized. Like, is it a waiting room that I have or somebody that I'm working with or whatever? Like I couldn't figure out what the like significance of it was, but when you asked for the word, just waiting. And then it was like, oh, that makes sense. But I don't know. Anyway, so waiting.
How did that feel?
It felt like, okay, that explains it. Like that.
Okay.
And then the second one, I opened to a field of kind of like Kathy was saying, it's green, lots of flowers, butterflies flying around. I could hear the birds. And the word there was peace.
Okay.
And then my third one was interesting because when I opened the door of the third one and I realized where I was, I got all shivery, like body shivers. And then it was like this would scare me, but it didn't when I was in the meditation. So I was on a really, really big stage. And the lights were like blinding me. Like I could barely make out anybody in the audience. It was like I'm on this really massive black stage with really bright lights coming at me from the left. And the word that came in that door was speaking.
Okay. Great. So I recently went through this too. So if you don't mind, I'm going to describe mine as well. And then I'll tell you what they're about. And when I said focus on one thing, did anybody have something that came to mind that you focused on? Or it was just, and you may not remember. Okay, cool. There's no meaning to that. I just was curious. So my rooms, when I walked in, the first one was a light yellow door and it had an ornate kind of wispy, wavy looking doorknob. And I opened the door and I have a love affair with trees. So I was inside the trunk of an old tree. And, but it wasn't a dead tree. And you know how trees aren't just circular. So it was kind of one of these, right? It wasn't really big, but it was glowing. You know how like when wood has light shine on it and it kind of glows? And I was standing right in the middle, and this like bright light was coming down in my head. And I didn't feel super like my feet were like grounded into the ground. I was standing, but it didn't feel like I was rooted. And the word that came to me there was trust. The second room for me, the door did not have a door handle. It was red, and all I saw was fire. And so it was like one of those restaurant doors that flaps open. So I pushed it in, and there was a campfire, like a really nice campfire, and then this black sky with like tons of stars in it. And the word that came to me was possibilities. And then the third one, when I opened the door, it was like a wooden door, and it was like almost this like turquoisey green color, but it was wood that was painted. And the door opened, and it opened right into, and I walked right into this cavern that was kind of these same colors that was lit up, and it was a mineral pool. Like I walked right into the mineral pool, and the words that came to me were rest and relaxation. And so these 3 rooms, and some of them you may go, oh, I don't know if that works. And I trust you, like to work this for yourself. But the first room is your relationship with money. So like Pam, you said it reminded you of Mexico. It was relaxing. You're relaxed about money. Carrie, like joy, like I see you when you talk about money things where it's kind of like this little girl, like it's easy breezy, kind of thing. I'll let you create your own meanings, but then Kathy, like having peace, and Lachelle, like this waiting piece. So I'll let you make meaning of it for yourself. For me, my meaning was that money comes to me in all sorts of different ways, and it comes really fast and great when I'm super grounded, right? Like the grounding piece of it. So I don't know, did that resonate with anyone, your first room? Or are you still trying to go, well, I need to kind of unpack this a little?
I think for me, I think about like we do have like freedom, I think maybe might be better, right? I mean, I think there's a little bit of that like spinning and having fun with your money instead of having it stress you out, maybe, but the freedom of spinning in the flower fields, and maybe that's the correlation.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of these things will start, they'll continue to come to you as time goes on, but the second one, and I'm going to just trust that you're going to bring it up if you want to share. Kathy, were you holding your thing because you wanted to share?
I was just thinking I like Lachelle's. The money's just sitting there waiting for her to call it in.
Yeah.
Thank you
I love the
for
same.
answering I'm like, I don't know what that means. So thank you, Kathy.
That's how I interpret it.
Yep, me too.
So it's just waiting there, waiting for me to claim it.
Yep. Oh, yeah, Kathy, I was going to say you're on mute, but
Just miming.
yeah.
You're like, you can come in now,
Next.
Next. I'll come back for the rest of you in a minute.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I think it's interesting. I didn't walk straight through the door. I walked around the door. And so perhaps my approach to money has been a little bit different than a lot of people's, which, right? I mean, being an entrepreneur, not a 9-to-5er, is probably some correlation there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and like my observation of you too is that you don't feel like you have to go directly for it, right? Like it just comes. Yeah. The second room, and sometimes people get a little stuck on this one, is where you have stuck energy, where you're stuck. So it was interesting, like the excitement, right, of the new house. You're still getting the details. And so there might be something that's in the way of that happening. I don't know. It might, so kind of unpack that. Same thing with Kathy. Like I thought that one was really impactful about standing in the rain.
I wasn't in the rain.
Oh, sorry, that was Carrie. I have two C's here, and that's where I'm screwing myself up. Carrie about standing in the rain. A trench coat, back in the past.
Well, and it's like that could be my Amazon. Like I'm just still standing in the shitstorm and I left one of those, but we still got the other one hanging out. We know what we need to do. It's fine.
You know, stuck. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. For me, it was I kind of reclaimed the power of leading my business because I'm paying people to help me come up with all sorts of new and creative ideas, but the designer shoe warehouse stresses me out because there's too many options. I don't like it.
My issue with the house.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
so
So they're
many
stuck.
options.
Yeah. And so for me, the stars stood for all of the possibilities that I could do, and that stops me. Like it stops me from bringing money in. It creates this overwhelmed, stuck feeling for me. So yeah, Pam, I'm glad to hear you say that. And then Kathy, you were the one that was in the antique place,
Those are the hoarder's house.
and I could taste, I don't know if you saw my face, but like I've done that before where I picked up like my grandma's old coffee and she'd stick her cigarette butts in it.
And
Like
I
that.
don't drink coffee or smoke, but it's just that communicated the feeling.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of what I'm going through with my family. I'm letting go of old stuff that's holding me back and purging.
Yeah, absolutely. Really timely on that. And then Michelle, yours was like the field, the green flowers, the birds, the peace. Might be in the effort, sorry. It might be in the effort of seeking peace that's what's causing you to be stuck. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down like that's interesting because I'm like, oh, what does that mean? So I wrote down a guess, maybe that I'm stuck in the hustle right now.
Yeah, could be the opposite. Absolutely.
Um, and that once I get unstuck from that, like I can have peace. But I don't know. It's interesting because it's almost like I want to go back and meditate on the meanings of these.
Yeah. Well, and I might offer up a hit that just came to me too is like when you're in this field and the green flowers, I think about Carrie, and not to superimpose hers on there, but like the birds and having this peace, that to me feels a little bit more like the feminine energy versus the get shit done masculine energy. Right. And so maybe I think you might have tapped into something there where it's like going there versus trying to have some harmony between the two might be what's causing you to be stuck too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, definitely as I'm trying to create this house, it's like all the things that I want versus what I think I can afford. Right? Like if I dream too big, I'm gonna be disappointed. So I'm trying to keep it reasonable for what I think it's gonna cost, right? And make those decisions based on like, okay, I want all these things, but am I really gonna be able to have them? So there's this battle constantly of like, there's all these options, so many options that it's a little bit overwhelming. It's exciting and it's exhilarating, but that whole fear, exhilaration thing being two sides of the same coin, that's totally it for
And
me.
who knew that there were 800 white colors?
Right.
Right. Now, I say that too because one of the great things about that, Pam, is why not put down everything you want it as you want it? And then there might be things like, okay, I'm going to get the cabinets the way I want them because, and maybe I get this as the surface top because it's just the same amount to replace as, like you might decide to change things up knowing that a year from now, and I'm a firm believer too, if you put it all down, that's manifestation.
Yeah, I think it's the protection mechanism in me that's like, don't think too big because then you won't be disappointed if you can't have it. Like be realistic with your wants because then you might be pleasantly surprised, but you won't be disappointed.
Oh, and how's that spill over into business? Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So then the third one is Pam, you were at your son's new apartment, you were happy. Carrie, you, your door was yellow and crooked. It reminded me of like going into one of those like playhouse things, like at a amusement park when you said that, and the disco dance party. And it was a sober, fun party. Like those two words seemed prevalent for you. Kathy was the leather drape, which I thought was really a cool analogy there. With a metal cubicle and isolated and trapped. And Lachelle, this big stage, and your word was speaking. And this, and mine was rest and relaxation. This room shows you what you need, or what potentially you need to call in more of. And Kathy, I would say like the isolated and trapped, like that feels like past tense, and those were the words you used, like past tense words. And
How do you say isolated in present tense?
I isolate versus I've been isolated, right? Like I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, that it might be the opposite of that, right? I don't know. Or it might be that you need some time alone. Maybe you've been around too many people lately. I don't know. I'll let you unpack that, but
Mhm.
so like calling in more speaking, calling in more happiness, family time, calling in more fun, sober fun is what I heard there. Yeah. Thoughts on that one? What resonates for you?
Yeah, I think for
Go
me,
ahead.
I mean, definitely that happy feeling, calling all that in and having the boys nearby definitely brings that in for me, and just, makes me want more.
Yeah. And sometimes too, you might continue to unpack this and you might go, oh, that doesn't quite feel like that's the one that is where I'm stuck. It really feels like it's maybe my first door or the third door. Cause like you trust your own intuition with that, but this was the energy as I was going through this meditation that these three doors represented. And it could have been that one shifted for you, right? And I would say sit in this, let it resonate. And like I'm actually going to go out to Canva tonight and like create my doors as a reminder of it. So but yeah, it's just another way to be aware, particularly to when it comes to money, because these were actually rooms around like your relationship with money, where your stuck energy might be with money, and how you can call in more money. So like for me, taking some time to rest and relax will help me call in more of the money. Being grounded ensures I have a good solid relationship with money. Getting rid of too many options allows me to not feel stuck, right? Thoughts, comments?
What's interesting
Yeah.
is I did this meditation with Joni earlier this week, but with different energy, right? It was not about money at all, but it was the three doors. And so I couldn't help but repicture the same three doors.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wanted to come up with something different, but it was like I had already, like, it's only been a couple days, so. But it's interesting that it still resonated in both situations, like totally different, like energy guided towards it as a, right, but
Yeah.
still resonated.
That's what so did you realize that I would have these same meanings? Because she and I both were at the same event that this.
Yeah, no, I mean, hers was not about money at all, and it was three very, like, each door represented something different. So it was like,
Oh, okay, cool.
door one was where
I fe-
was what it felt like if I stayed the same, doing the same things that I'm doing. Door number two was if I actually like changed in the ways I want to and keep going. And then door number three was like if I went the other direction
Oh, got
and
you.
I've
and then,
used the three doors meditation many times,
Yeah.
and it's really what you held it as when you led the meditation
yeah,
is what they mean.
Yeah.
It's just a technique to access your subconscious a little bit.
Yeah, but the words were different each time. So like
Mhm.
the view was the same, but the words were different.
Yeah, because the person leading you through it was
Right.
holding it for a
Mhm.
different answer.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for playing with us and
Yeah,
I'll-
I'm a little worried because I do not want to call in more of what I need to call in.
yeah, for me,
It was
it's,
not comfortable. It was not good. It was not happy.
yeah. And I think maybe for you, Kathy, it's the opposite, right? Like that what you need more of is not to isolate. And I'm not saying you have been. I just mean like you just got back from a wedding where you were around a lot of people, like being in areas that you don't feel trapped, you know, because sometimes, I mean, you know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but sometimes it can mean the opposite of what is being called in. How does that resonate with you?
I don't think it's related to the trip. I think it's deeper than that. So, but you know, usually with me, what I don't want to call in, I probably do need to.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and there might be something tied to what's happening with your family. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it might be I've been playing a part for them, and I've just, you know, with the whole book and the way, you know, you guys have been noticing that I'm just gonna be me and take it or leave it. And I knew, you know, that they were gonna leave it.
Mm.
And since I've been playing that role, that maybe it's better to isolate from them and, you know, find my own path, not influenced by them, you know,
Yeah, because
going forward.
it feels like very different energy than like I think about Carrie who just had your book coming out of the bag, right? Like and I don't know, like I've heard other people say this, but the Kathy that was, and not that you haven't been this, but like when you were in Costa Rica and as you're showing up as that person, that's who I met a long time, you know, like feels like a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago, but um,
Mhm.
like I love that Kathy. And so now you have four
Well,
other
the
sisters,
sisters don't.
but now you have four other sisters. We just
Yeah,
don't necessarily carry the same blood.
yeah.
Mhm.
But, you know,
Don't you
maybe
have four sisters?
four siblings, three sisters and one brother. But it's his wife that's the biggest problem. So,
So now you
Hmm.
have four people to step into that.
Weird.
Yeah, who do appreciate you as you are.
you.
With lots of love, we're gonna see if I can do the little thing because when I want it, I do it.
I'm on the wrong computer.
I know mine doesn't work either, but.
Yeah. So sending you lots
Mine
and
doesn't
lots of
work
love.
either. Tried to fit and upgrade it and all that. Thank you. I will receive.
Okay.
I've done 4 meditations this week, y'all. I just want to share that with you.
Look at
I wasn't
you.
going, I did this one. I did 2 on my Calm app this week. I've been getting up early enough that I have a little bit of alone time before I go to work because I know I never get after work. So baby steps, but I'm getting there.
Well, I'll just say it to everybody, but make sure you're drinking a lot of water. 'Cause it
Mm.
doesn't seem to make sense, but it really takes a lot of water to do this kind of work.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Kathy, because ever since I've gotten back from the Dominican Republic, I was home for a day and then went to this workshop in Spokane and did a lot of really deep work. As a matter of fact, I did something that I asked you all to do, but I did it in front of the entire group as a witness. Um, she asked me to share the love relationship that I'm in. And it like all I didn't plan for it, it just all came out. And half the women started crying and they're all like, we thought you were already in that relationship. And I'm like, well, in quantum time, that is the case. And then up to me and she was giddy and she's like, have you watched Outlander? And I said, yeah. And she goes, you described Jamie. And I'm like, I'll take that. Right.
Who
But I,
wouldn't?
right. I just felt so dehydrated. Like my skin just feels like leather. And I've been drinking like 100 ounces of water. And I think I need to go get some electrolytes because it's just like I cannot hang on to it. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together for that. So thank you. Yeah. Okay. So the last few minutes. Are you okay if I draw a card for you, or would you like to draw your own? I'm not going to go into the whole book and read the paragraph about it, but I can also hold them up and you can tell me, well, they're all kind of dark. So,
You can draw my card.
I trust you to draw mine.
okay. Whoa, there went Pam's right there. Pam, meandering pathway, flow.
Interesting.
The wizard with the
Great.
lens.
Love it.
And I can take pictures of the book and send it to you. And then Carrie's was right here. Owl spirit, wisdom. So I think yours is right here. Yours is wise woman of the grove, Grace, and it's like a elder Indian woman. And there's like a ruby. Kathy, I'm gonna put these back in here because I want to shuffle because I'm feeling the need to shuffle for you. Right here. Ooh, frog spirit, renewal. Okay, I put those cards back in there. Now I can't remember which ones they were, so I won't take pictures. Sorry. Another time. My love affair with trees. Look at that. I love it.
Nice.
Okay, ladies, I am going to give you 4 minutes back of your time. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you next Thursday.
Wait, before we go, you said something in the chat about the 14th.
So originally, I took it off the calendar. Originally, we had our second strategic planning intensive, and I'm like, well, that's silly. That's really only like not very far after our retreat. So I'm going to look at June, and you were the only one that said that there were time in July that you were going to be gone. Lachelle, Kathy, or Carrie, is there any time that you're going to be gone in June or July?
I don't know when yet.
I don't know yet. We'll have Cinnaholic training in our opening in that time. So I don't know when.
Okay.
Cinnaholic is not a movie theater.
Yes, we just established this because until about an hour ago, Lachelle thought Cinnaholic was a movie theater.
Oh,
Fun.
I get it. Cinematic.
It's fine.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be on the Abraham Hicks cruise
Oh, yeah, that's right.
on July 7th through the 14th.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be in Nashville June 3rd through the 7th.
Okay. And Carrie or Kathy, is June or like, do you have any idea? Like, is it looking more like June or looking more like July, or it's just a crapshoot right now?
I'll have a week in June and then sometime in July. I don't know. We'll just do our best.
Okay.
And for me, if it's on the calendar, I'm in control a little bit. I can work around it.
Okay. I might look towards the end of like end of June time frame. And then Carrie, if something does come up with that, let me know because then we can do a switch.
Yeah, I have to find a Monday at 8 a.m. through Saturday at 2 p.m. sometime in June that I don't have anything going on that I can go to Atlanta for training. I don't know if you've seen my calendar, but that's not easy.
does that exist in your world? A time when you have nothing going on?
Okay, but the thing is, I've got like a Justin Timberlake concert and my niece is getting married and there's high school graduation. It's like there's none of those weeks that are like that clear. So It's all right. We'll figure it out.
And I'll stay away from Tuesdays because I know those aren't the best days. And what I'm looking at is about a 2-hour time frame. So I might do it like on a Monday or Friday.
Cool.
If I do Friday, it'll be towards the morning, later morning for you all. And if I do it on a Monday, kind of the same.
I vote for a Monday.
Okay.
I have a team meeting 1:30 on Mondays that I can't not be at. So that's my only thing on, that's every Monday.
11:30, so that'd be 10:30 my time.
And I have a
Yeah.
call from noon to 1 on Mondays. That's the only thing I have that's standing. That happens sometimes.
Okay,
It's supposed to happen every week, but it only happens sometimes.
that's fine. I might do it more like a 1 p.m. my time, which would be 3 p.m. Eastern
4 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that works great for me.
or 4 p.m. and then 3 p.m. Central. Okay. Awesome. Kathy, feel free to reach out if you need an ear or a witness.
All right. I almost called you last night in the middle of it and I decided to just feel it and breathe and all that stuff.
Well, feel free.
Thank you.
Okay. Love you all. I'll see you next Thursday.
All right.
I
Bye-bye.
Pam, I'll see you Friday.